that's the end of the greatness streak of Danny Phantom. After 2 very strong episodes for Season 2, now we come to one that's just decent. This episode has a lot of problems. Like, a lot. From the writing to the pacing. But at the same time, it's not a bad episode by any means. But then again, it's just frustrating. Because if you guys saw my Sonic Prime review series, then you guys know how much I love pirates! And whenever pirates are included in kids shows and animation shows, like whether it's Sonic Prime or SpongeBob, like they're just always so fascinating every time they're brought on screen in animation. But this has to be one of the most boring interpretations of that, and unfortunately it has to come from my favorite show of Nickelodeon, my favorite Nicktoon. So, let's dive into Pirate Radio. Oh boy, and there's going to be a bit of a rant about this one. So, let's start, as always, with our basic plot synopsis. All of the adults in Amity Park are being kidnapped by the ghost pirate child Youngblood. Yes, Youngblood, that's his name, because he's a kid, and he's a pirate ghost. Get it? Youngblood? Not funny. And, another fun fact, and this is probably going to be in the trivia later, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Youngblood's voiced by Taylor Lautner. Yes, that's Taylor Lautner. The Twilight guy. That Taylor Lautner. And, his performance in this episode was very mid. He wasn't bad by any means, but, I mean, this was still when he was a little kid, so we can cut him a little bit of slack, but at the same time, his performance was just average. It was fine. With help from Ember McLean, yes, Ember, my all-time favorite Danny Phantom villain, is back again in this episode, which is great. But her inclusion and how she actually plays into the episode itself is not. It's complicated. I'll explain it as we go along. So it's up to Danny and the other kids at Amity Park to work together to fight back for their parents. Love that part of the episode. That is a highlight, but we are going to talk about that in the actual highlights section later. So let's get into the plot synopsis, and this is a pretty lengthy one because a lot does happen, but at the same time, not a lot of everything happens. It's very inconspicuous and confusing. So let's just go through it together, shall we? Danny, Sam, and Tucker are atop the Fenton's family roof, stargazing. The radio they brought with them is irritating Sam, but no amount of changing radio stations can fix it, as they are all playing the same new age music. Their peaceful night is interrupted by a flying ghost pirate ship holding ghost pirates and their leader, the 10-year-old Captain Youngblood. He easily holds Danny off as his crew steals the Fenton ghost shield generator. They then make their exit. The following morning, the very same new age music from earlier is affecting Danny's parents and even Jazz, shocking Danny since they didn't even notice that the ghost shield generator has gone missing, immediately raising suspicion. At school, he finds out that both Tucker and Sam's parents are also affected by this music. They hear it again when Lancer plays it on the new school radio station. Yeah, you can see the pattern here. This one song is going to be overplayed to death in the entire episode because it's actually part of the plot. And the song itself is just boring. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a commentary about how new age versus old age is music-wise, but I don't know, man. The song used in this episode is boring. Like, I liked Patrick's song better from Season 8. That's bad. Danny auditions for a role as a DJ there, but his lack of popularity works against him. Okay, that part's funny. While Dash successfully rounds up the fellow students with relative ease, being the popular jock. Afterwards, Youngblood comes to attack again, and this time steals all the treadmills in the school's weight room. Danny tries to fight them again, but fails. Danny's losing to a 10-year-old kid. I'm sorry, that doesn't even fit in the show. when we've seen what he can fight. The trio then walk back home. Danny suspects the music may be part of the ghost plan. To counteract the music, Sam suggests building their own radio station using the Fenton Ops Center. Danny quickly asks for his parents' permission, only to find them and Jazz missing, leaving behind a brochure for Ember's Back Cruise Line. I get it. Ember's Back. Ha ha ha. Okay, that's funny. That's good wordplay. I will give them that. That is good wordplay. As the three go on a weekend cruise, leaving Danny alone in the house. While Sam and Tucker express excitement over the new radio station idea, Danny is even more suspicious over all of this. Even more suspicious, nearly every single parent is leaving for the cruise at the same time, Jazz included since she views herself as an adult mentally, being the eldest of the siblings. Sam unknowingly hosts a party at Danny's house because of a flyer she had made for their new radio station, which had the abbreviation PARTY that Danny throws away. Unfortunately, Dash and Quan found that flyer shortly after and assumed that there was a party at Fenton's house. In their own words, crash and trash. Danny, however, is not pleased with the idea. Concerned about the parents, he goes over to find the cruise, only to see the parents boarding Youngblood's pirate ship disguised as the cruise ship. Okay, that's actually pretty clever. Again, Danny ends up losing the battle with Youngblood for the third freaking time, really? Like, twice was bad enough. A third time, just to service your plot. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Causing him to lose the ship and everyone inside of it. Back home, Danny's home is invaded by his partying peers, while Sam and Tucker station themselves above the Fenton Ops Center, providing music. Danny races upstairs, ordering them to stop the racket of the chaotic party downstairs. Both Sam and Tucker are thrilled over the party, because they didn't even know what was going on because they were too busy broadcasting. Then Sam scratches one of the New Wave Vapor drone discs backwards, causing the music to play backwards, and sending out a subliminal message telling all the adults to leave their kids and go on the cruise. Mind control. The pirate ship returns, using a ghost shield from the stolen ghost shield generator that Danny cannot pass. Inside the pirate ship, he reunites with Ember, who is revealed to be in charge of the music. I mean, it makes sense, but at this point, the episode's already halfway over. Like, come on, man. Really? Whatever. Seeing as both she and Youngblood hate adults, she provides him with a power source for his ship, mainly the adults who provide the power through the treadmills that the ghost stole, while he helps her take over the world. Their only true blockage is Danny's radio station, which is jamming their frequency, so they commence an attack. The pirate ship nearly destroys the ops center until Sam discovers a way to counteract it by continuously scratching the records that sound like a sound wave that they send back at the pirate ship. With Ember's music interrupted, the pirates kidnap any remaining adults and flee. The kids, distressed over the loss of their folks, follow Danny's instructions, seeing as he is the only child with ghost hunting parents, as he says so himself, since Danny Phantom can't pass the ghost shield. Paulina agrees to dress Tucker up as an adult so that he can destroy the ghost shield generator from the inside, which, I mean, the final design that she comes up with is actually pretty funny. Sam is told to continue scratching records with Quan defending her while she does so, and then Dash goes with Danny on the offense. With the team set, Tucker, now disguised as an adult, gets deliberately captured by the ghost pirates. Danny then activates the control panel of the Ops Center, located near a ham in the refrigerator. Classic Jack. Turning the entire Fenton rooftop headquarters into a giant blimp. Using it, they reach the pirate ship, where he and his team go off to battle, while Tucker operates the ghost shield from inside, being able to turn it off in 60 seconds. And what's also really cool about this is that Danny actually gets everyone a Fenton jumpsuit, including himself. Like the original jumpsuit that he wore when he went in the portal, which caused the accident that turned him into a ghost. That's really cool. I will give the episode that. That's a cool visual. That's why it's in the intro of this video. And of this month, for that matter. Everyone excels in their own way of battling. Even Dash admires Danny's courage and fighting skills, even though he still says he's going to pound him later. Youngblood and Ember, however, manage to trap them all. Taking Danny, since he is their leader, they make him walk the plank, causing him to fall hundreds of feet. The ghost shield powers off at that exact second, however, causing Danny to go ghost and wreak havoc on his ghostly opponents. He takes Ember's guitar, angering her. Ember then quickly gets up, takes off her pirate hat, Her eyes flare red and she uses her flaming hair as a weapon to shoot at Danny Phantom, but instead she misses and she burns out the sail of the pirate ship. Bearing that in mind, she makes a quick getaway, leaving Youngblood to fend for himself. Danny battles Youngblood until the parents break free of the spell with them. As the power source, the ship falls from the sky and sinks into the ocean, Danny finally defeating this little puke. Seriously, it should not have taken 4 battles for him to defeat this 10-year-old ghost kid. Like, seriously, that just feels like a inaccurate dragging of the freaking plot. Gathering all the kids and adults, Danny takes them to safety, landing them nearby at a harbor. There he hides and becomes Danny Phantom once more, causing Dash to lose the respect he had for him, because he thinks Danny ran away from the battle. Afterwards, Danny's parents punish Danny for using the Ops Center and hosting a party that damaged the house. Grounded for a month, Danny listens to Sam, who is overjoyed at having actual other music back, while Tucker explains that he kicked up the backup system with the Ghost Show generator and set it in reverse by using his PDA. He's smart. That makes sense. Trapping Youngblood and his crew in his own ship at the bottom of the sea. You know, like the classic shipwrecks. And that's the full plot. Pirate Radio. It is a mess. It is a mess. It drags out the plot by having Danny Phantom unable to beat this 10-year-old kid, despite having beaten so many other more skilled and more powerful ghosts in previous episodes from both this season and last season. And then it drags its feet with the plot despite being 22 minutes. And then Ember's inclusion in this episode is pointless. Like, it kind of makes sense, the whole music thing, sure, but what does she do outside of that? Gets a cool looking pirate outfit and that's it. And then when things start going bad and she makes one bad shot with her flaming hair, then she just nopes out of there, leaving Youngblood to fend for himself. Really? That's all you did with Ember. That's all you brought Tara Strong back to do as voicing Ember. That frustrates me, because if you don't remember from Ember's very first episode, she was incredible in that episode. She was the main star, she was the main focus, and her plot centering around music made more sense. She was threatening, she was funny, she was likable, her design was cool. I mean, her design's still cool, but you get my point. Like, her Ember being in this episode is completely freaking pointless. They could have used any other ghost they wanted to. Heck, they could have made an original, other music-centered ghost to put in this plot instead. They put in Ember for marquee value. And it's not even marquee value because she's not on the freaking title screen. And then the pacing moves too fast because it doesn't give anything time to breathe until like the final 10 minutes. And when we get to the final 10 minutes with everyone working together and it's all awesome again, then it's over. Like, what in the actual frick, man? Seriously. That is... that's so frustrating. And Youngblood. One of the worst pirates I've seen in animation. And I get that was probably like the whole joke because he's a kid, but... worst pirate in animation. His plot was stupid. He was only winning because of plot convenience. And when Ember finally left his side, he couldn't do nothing. Heck, before Ember even entered the plot, he was still beating Danny. 3 times! It took 4 times for Danny to beat this one little kid ghost. I'm sorry, I understand this is cartoon. It's a cartoon logic, whatever. But even in the world of Danny Phantom, seeing everything that he's been through from Season 1 and the first 2 episodes of Season 2, that is bullcrap. Let's just finish. Goodness gracious. Series continuity. While looking at the pamphlet for the cruise, they realize it says Ember's back. Then Tucker says we need to get better at this. A reference to the previous episode where they realized Bert Rand was actually Bertrand. Okay, that's cool. Trivia. The Vapor Drone music that is overplayed to absolute death in this episode is a slowed down version of You Will Remember. That's cool. This is the first episode produced in 2005. Okay. The episode re-aired on Nicktoons during the holidays of 2015. Okay, and that's it. And for those of you wondering what was Ember's first episode, I'm pretty sure it was one of the ones I praised the most when I first reviewed Season 1 of Danny Phantom. Yeah, Fanning the Flames. That episode was absolutely just phenomenal. I love that episode. Whereas with this episode, I can barely say I even like it because it's just such a freaking mess. Like, sure, the plot is cool, there are some cool designs, but most of this episode, it moves too fast or too slow. The villain is crap, and it breaks the series' consistency. Like, seriously. Yes, it has some cool parts. I mean, let's go ahead and talk about the highlights real quick. Highlight 1, and this is one of the cool, really good dark jokes of the episode. Danny Phantom rips one of the pirates' arms off. Both their arms off. And since there's no blood, it's actually okay for censors. But it's still a gruesome visual, and I did love seeing that. That made me smile. That was cool. And then the second highlight was, like I said, when all the kids came together to fight as one united force. That was a really cool idea that I think they did really well, and giving them all the Fenton jumpsuit, really nice little touch. Really enjoyed that. But outside of that, this episode is a freaking mess, and I can barely even call it decent, because now the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. So, I know, I'm getting triggered over an episode of a show that came out years ago. I know, that sounds dumb, but trust me, looking at it critically, this episode is a freaking mess. And if it weren't for those two cool moments, that would have been it. I probably could have called this a 5 or heck even a 4 because of how disappointed I was, especially coming off of Doctor's Disorders, which was a fantastic episode. I'm just gonna stop before this gets too long, but this is so far the weakest episode of Season 2, and I can only hope that no episode of Danny Phantom ever sinks any lower. Because this episode was so close to being flat out bad. But, as it is, the more I think about it, at best, it's a 6 out of 10. Okay, I'll be down in a minute. At best, it's a 6 out of 10. It's just a messy episode with a bad villain and horrible pacing, and it doesn't really get good until the final 10 minutes. Outside of that, this episode is one of the weakest of Danny Phantom, and it is an episode that I'm never watching again. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time for the special double-length review of Rainstorm Part 1 and 2.